Cradle, Dogs of Fount, Chapter 1. No, man, don't sit down. There's a body over there, Nate informed a warrior he'd teamed up with for a few weeks now, Tom Spade. Tom gave Nate a look and stood up and seemingly defied Nate just for a moment by slowly taking out his pack and lighting up. People had a habit of showing Nate they didn't like his commands. In reality, Nate took on Tom Spade because he wasn't safe around all warriors. Nate was naturally understanding. Hey, give me one. Nate was perceptive and oddly diplomatic and honestly had to be, after leading men after that nuke dropped. So Nate and Tom buried the bodies while in the morning dark. Chief Wren of Heap Designation 15 sent them here to give them relief from the cityscape where the aerial swarms of nanos were feasting on the radiation. Later, those nanos would be used to progress the research of targeted mutations for bone enhancement and get closer to eliminating autoimmune ailments. The edge of the forest kept catching Nate's eye, the shadows between the evergreens and the fireflies that mocked his apathy. It was a strange war, he concluded. This whole situation is stupid, Spade said as he kicked off his boots in front of the LED torch in the center of the campsite. Nate's tent was closer to the stream, and Spade's was still only half erected. Uppity up. Spade's eyes glazed for a millisecond. Nate gave no tell. The war is not what it seems. I keep telling you that, Nate reiterated while thinking about Heather. Downtime was always about Heather. How is a friggin' nuke not what it seems? Spade was starting to lose his patience. Nate could sense a little envy in him, for Nate had been honored for his mission to the mountain base. Yet, Nate knew Spade never heard of Cyphus. Up and up and up. Nate continued acting naturally. My father, Horace Spade, was good. He beat me every Friday to take the sissy out of me. He beat me for my good. He tried to beat Moni, but I stopped him. He broke my ribs and my shin bone. I cried every night for a month. Nathaniel Lint is brave. I wish I was brave. I hate myself because I think my dad made me a coward. Horace Spade, Horace Spade, Horace Spade, a real man, a real man. I let my warrior brothers down on two occasions. I pretended my gun jammed because I didn't want to go to hell for murder. Warrior Jimmy Lee died because of me. Warrior Ben Stilton died because of me. Warrior Jerry Travis died because of me. Warrior Dean Eriks died because of me. Citizen 60997-11 died because of me. Female child. I honestly hate Warrior Tom Spade. I hate Warrior Tom Spade. I hate him. Tom Spade came back smoothly and dragged on his cigarettes. These ones are smooth. You said you saw Heather a few moments ago? Bet you're gonna try something, Tom laughed and threw Nate a square. Just let her come back. You're Nate freaking Lint. I got a mission coming up. Don't know how long I'm gonna be gone. Nate looked at his screen with the orange hue and saw the file folder icon sitting in the bottom right corner. Assassinate, if feasible, was one of the details, and he felt a void. One of the outlaws he took out a month or so back. He had terror in his eyes. Nate looked past or through Spade's face, and the void of regret was seeping in too close. Nate took a drag. Up! Nate didn't know if he could take another one so soon after the last. Anyway, she's been seen with the up-and-coming grunt Craig. Yeah, he's seen some action near the border for years now. The female warriors like him, from what I gather. You know, I'm usually in the North Country on Savage Patrol. Nate still didn't like that word, even though the tribes would slit his throat with no question. Just then, Nate saw a lingering glance from Tom. Where is she? Are they bunking? Nate asked. He had been riding his NDTMB all-terrain motorcycle for 5 hours straight. The spare battery in his pack weighed 50 pounds and was giving him a deep ache near the joint in his right hip. The Pauli Trail had been kept up well. It was a military route through the forest that led to the Atlantic. Nate had started the trip by listening to Wolf Janitor, but the wank rock was only making things tedious because its low-tuned guitars were encouraging his rage. He was holding something back from emerging to the front of his mind. Mile by mile, he felt slightly more unnerved. There was a stress. There was a vulnerability that felt digital rather than natural. Leave me? For him? The day broke, and he thought about coffee. He thought about the candy bars and smoke breaks with his Fount unit at the old base in the city. He felt lucky because everyone knew Heather was into him, and they'd all tried to crack that egg for years at that point. He was getting closer to Lake Union, where he heard they'd been seen, and he was trying to recall what he could have said or done to make her leave. She was pissed when she left him, but he couldn't come up with a valid reason. It didn't absolve him at all. He had that effect on women, just like his dad. His teeth were gritting. He didn't want to be like him. He was a good guy, but Nate wasn't susceptible. He couldn't be. It was coming up his throat. This couldn't be true. His jaw unlocked. Up. He felt insane. He had been standing outside their tent for 10 minutes straight in the silence, in his sorrow, in his rage. Something stirred inside the large red tent, and he stayed motionless. A crow landed just 10 feet away on his right, but didn't distract him in the least. Then the tall brute walked out of the tent shirtless, with a look on his face. Not hateful, not aggressive, just firm. "Hey, man, why don't you just leave? Doesn't want to talk to you," Craig said as he walked past Nate, unmoved, and stopped near a bush for his morning leak. Nate was still motionless, and the adrenaline was kicking in. He could feel the blood moving around his jawline. Craig stepped on a twig and Nate turned to him. "Don't go back in that tent." Craig shrugged and walked towards the tent emphatically, and then Heather came out in a white tank top and boy shorts. "Turn around." Craig turned around and Nate tackled him immediately. Craig stood his ground for a moment, but Nate took him off his feet with sheer body mechanics. "Nate, what the heck are you doing?" Heather exclaimed. A bright flash took over Nate's vision. Craig caught him with a savage elbow to the temple. Nate rolled with it and twisted Craig's arm behind his back and tried to overwhelm the elbow joint to stop this as soon as possible. "If you don't leave now, I will never talk to you again," Heather screamed. Nate wasn't sure how the words came through so clear in the heat of a fight. He wasn't sure why he completely believed her threat, and he couldn't grasp what Craig had that he didn't. All the same, Heather was a woman of her word.